former #1 overall selection of the Houston Texans. You can catch him on NFL Network, as well as its training camp coverage that airs starting Tuesday, July 26th, a week from next Tuesday, baby, all the way through to Wednesday, August 10th. Good to see you, David Carr. How are you, bud?
It's great to see you, bud.
Good to see you.
Thanks for having me. It's a nice place, man.
Thank you.
It's really cool.
Welcome.
Yeah,
we're just down the 405.
I know. I should have came over earlier, but I'm
now,
always up super early for HQ. So.
But now you're here. Yeah, NFL HQ.
Yeah,
exactly. So are you a golfer? Are you? Of course you are.
I do. Yeah.
NFL
quarterback. You have to play golf. You're excommunicated. Kicked off. So.
You're out of the quarterback club unless you play, correct?
Yeah, I mean, if you're terrible, you're definitely out. But so you have to start playing when you're in college. You can start hitting it around a little bit as you become the starting quarterback in college. And some guys play before that, but yeah, you got to be good. Otherwise, it's a wrap.
Who's the best quarterback golfer you've ever been around?
See, I can't say Dilfer because
he's that good.
Yeah, I mean, he's good. He doesn't hit it, but 150 yards, but he's accurate. He's short irons. Yeah, he keeps it in play. He's a good putter. I just don't want to say that ever, just because everyone tells him he's good. So he's all right.
Is that a Fresno thing that you can't?
Yeah, I mean, maybe it is. Maybe there's
it?
a little bit of animosity there that he's that good of a golfer, but he just doesn't hit it that far. Like if I play golf with someone and they're going to beat me, I want him to blow the ball past me, and then just hit long irons into the green, but he doesn't. He's always behind you, and he gets to the green first, and it's painful.
But a lot of people criticized his quarterbacking game.
Yeah, but he won.
David,
but he won.
He did.
So maybe there's something to it.
Just got to keep it in the field of play.
There's something to it.
Worst quarterback golfer.
Oh, there's some bad ones. I mean,
which one?
I don't want to. I mean, quarterbacks.
Got it. Come on, get it. Let's get it out there right now.
Who's bad? You know who? Okay, so it's not a quarterback, but Andre Johnson is the worst golfer on planet Earth. We took him when we were down in Houston. We took him and his uncle, and my dad and I went out. And on the first tee, we give him a sleeve of balls. Missed.
What do you mean missed?
Like literally missed the ball, like 3, 4, 5 times.
Like swing and he missed?
Swing and a miss. And then he just sits back in the cart and just hung out the rest of the day. Didn't play a shot.
He picked up?
He picked up and didn't play a shot. Not one. Unbelievable athlete. I mean, the most freakish athlete you'll ever see. I mean, the first day he came to practice, just his shin angle when he's running, throwing guys down on the ground, making play after play. So we're just trying to bond, I mean, he's a young guy, so I take him out to play golf. Miserable experience for him. So he's a good kid.
You know what you should have done? You should have put the ball down and say, Andre, treat the ball like it's Cortland Finnegan.
Yeah.
Then he would have slapped
that hadn't happened yet. So
okay.
So it hadn't happened yet. So that would have been, I didn't know he had that in him.
So he never even put one in play?
No, not one. I felt bad because, I mean, like, he said yes, and I'm the older guy. I'm 2 or 3 years older than him. So I think he just said yes because I was his quarterback. But, man, just say I've never played, I can't hit it, and we'll do something else.
David Carr here on the Rich Eisen Show. I read your open letter to Jared Goff. Why'd you write something to Jared? What was that?
Well, I mean, it was one of those deals that I've been able to kind of input on Derek's life and kind of his path a little bit, and so I figured, I mean, this guy's about to be picked, kind of like an expansion team. Although St. Louis moving to Los Angeles, they're not an expansion team. But he's going to go through the same things that I went through. New city, right? Football's back in L.A., so it's going to be just a whirlwind for him. And everything that he does is going to be the first time the L.A. Rams have done this since, so long ago, just like the Oilers when the Texans came back. So it was just one of those deals that I just started putting some ideas together, and they were great over NFL.com to kind of help me out with it.
Right. So one would hope that his protection is going to be a little bit better.
Well,
than
I mean, their team's better. Their team's better. Well, man, I wouldn't wish that on anybody. I mean, that was a difficult situation. It was one of those deals where we were always fighting an uphill battle. Charlie Caserly, he comes on the show all the time on HQ. I talked to him around the network, and he said just straight out, he's like, I just wouldn't have drafted you if I knew we couldn't have protected you. So it's one of those deals where you try to give some advice, you try to give something to help these kids out. I mean, they're a better team. The Los Angeles Rams are much better than we were.
So how does that affect a player when you're constantly getting
that's
hit
hard because
and hammered?
Yeah,
David?
Because at the quarterback position, it's difficult because it's not like golf or it's not like just being a pitcher where you go out and you got one job to do. It's your job. You just go out there and you do your job. Don't have to worry about anything else. There's so many other variables that change. And it has to be the perfect storm. And you look at situations like what Tom Brady walked into, or I remember watching Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh had a good football team. They just needed a quarterback, and they drafted Ben Roethlisberger kind of middle of the first round. Perfect situation. Goes in, wins a couple Super Bowls. Aaron Rodgers, same thing, sit behind Brett Favre. And you got a good football team, but when you're out there and you think you're doing everything right, but your team's still struggling, you still can't get a first down, and you start to doubt yourself. Well, am I doing this wrong? I mean, it's worked all the way through. I got drafted #1. I was a first-round pick for a reason. It's worked all the way up to that point. So what am I doing wrong? So you start not questioning yourself, but you start looking. There's got to be something going on. So you start to force the issue a little bit, and it becomes frustrating. It does. It becomes a frustrating deal.
So do you wish you were redshirted? Do you wish?
Oh man, like we were talking about this morning about Carson Wentz.
Yes.
And how they said Doug just came out and said, you know what, we might sit him the whole year. And I almost wanted to stand up and give a standing ovation because that's genius. In this day and age, to be able to do that with a quarterback, especially in Philadelphia, where you just come out and you have a head coach say, you know what, this kid's not ready. And even if he is, we have 2 good quarterbacks ahead of him. We'll let him sit there, watch the week of work, watch them how they prepare, how they go through their daily grind. And he's going to be better for it, you know? I mean, he could probably play day one, but he doesn't need to.
Do you think he can, though? Play day one?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this day and age, I mean, there's so much. I'm just watching what he did. I mean, even though it was a smaller school, his offensive system was pro style. It was they asked him to do things, line of scrimmage, check run plays. I mean, he wouldn't play successfully. I mean, he might be okay. He's not going to be an elite level quarterback early on, but he could go out there and do it.
Well, I mean, it does help to have somebody in Sam Bradford who's such a team player that he's there right at the top of the flow chart, right, David?
See what you did there? See what you did there.
Did you see?
No, I saw.
Did you see what I did there?
And everyone forgets Chase Daniel too. I mean, this guy, they paid him a lot of money too. He knows Doug's system, so he can come in,
right,
and he could play too. So I mean, it's going to be interesting.
Well, I've got David Carr right here on the Rich Eisen Show at DCarr8 on Twitter. Eric Davis, our compadre from the NFL Media Group, was sitting in that chair on Friday and said essentially he thinks Paxton Lynch is going to start night one.
Oh, man, I love Paxton.
Denver. What do you think he can bring to the table for a championship team that is essentially ready to roll again if he can produce from that position? What do you think?
Well, I mean, not to take shots at Peyton, but, I mean, what did they really get from the quarterback position last year? I mean, he's a great Hall of Fame player. I mean, but he wasn't playing at a high level. I played against Peyton when he was playing at a high level. When I was in Houston and he was in Indianapolis, we lost to them 7 straight times. So I get it. I know, but he wasn't that guy last year. So in that system, Gary's system, which I've played a year under Gary Kubiak's system in Houston, it's very quarterback friendly. I mean, we weren't the greatest football team, but you can find completions. You can bootleg. You can get out of the pocket. He doesn't ask you to throw the football down the field, taking a 7-step drop-off play action. He's going to move the pocket for you, make it very quarterback friendly. Paxton's a great athlete. I think he has, it's not a shot at Brock, but I think he's a better physical specimen than Brock. I think he throws the ball better. I think he moves around better. It's just going to be a matter of experience because the first and second down stuff is going to be great for Paxton. He can go in there and he can lead that team. They're going to be good. They're going to run the football. The third downs, those 2-minute scenarios, which Tom Brady and all these guys just have absolutely mastered. That's going to be the thing that kind of holds him back. And they're Super Bowl contending team, Super Bowl championship team. So if they want to get back there, that's going to be the learning curve that he's going to have to speed up.
Well, it's a large if there. And so a lot of people are saying there's a void in the AFC West that can be filled.
I got a team that could fill it.
By Derek, your bro, and the Raiders. There is a large bandwagon that is getting more and more filled up between now and week 1 of that regular season. When the Raiders open up, I believe, in New Orleans, a tough spot for any team to open up on the road.
I mean,
what do you think?
On paper, they're a good football team. Right now, they're better. They improved, but it's paper, and I think that's the thing that just talking to Derek, on Saturday we had a football camp back home in Bakersfield, and we're coaching the kids, but I'm talking to him about his team, and it's competitive. The OTAs have been super competitive. The defense has raised their level of play with Bruce Irvin over there, and obviously what they've done in the secondary with Reggie Nelson, Sean Smith, those guys, some veteran guys over there, but they got to go out and do it. It's hard to win in the league, and he's already understood that. He's already found that. I mean, man, he went his first almost 3 months without winning a football game when he started, his first year. So he understands also how difficult it is to win, and you can't take that stuff for granted. So these guys got to stay healthy. They have all the weapons. I mean, they look the part right now. I think their offensive line is probably the difference from when I played is they're probably the 1 or 2 best offensive lines in football right now. I think they're big and physical. They've only improved in the offseason, so it's all a matter of going out there and doing it.
And then there's the next rookie quarterback that was drafted 51st overall, shocking a lot of people in New York City and a lot of Jet observers. Christian Hackenberg. What are your thoughts on Christian Hackenberg being drafted 51st overall?
I really don't know what the Jets are doing, honestly. I mean, maybe it's because I played for the Giants and won a Super Bowl there, but the Jets confuse me because they have quarterbacks in their locker room. They have Bryce Petty. They have Geno Smith. Geno Smith was going to be their starter until the incident, and now he's just kind of thrown on the back burner. So you could draft a kid which I don't know. Maybe they want trade bait or something for the kid. And maybe Christian can turn into a great quarterback. But you know what? It's going to be difficult because there's now 5 quarterbacks in that room or 4 quarterbacks in that room. So where is reps going to come from? The other reason I'm kind of disappointed in him is Ryan Fitzpatrick I thought he played well for him last year. And you got a guy that you're talking about giving backup money to go out and play a 16-game season and give the grind and go through all the stuff that he went through last year. You know, people give Ryan a hard time because, you know, for the first couple of years, you know, he's kind of a journeyman. He's bounced everywhere, you know, turned the football over. Well, he wasn't on good football teams. As soon as you put him on a good football team, Jets have a good defense. They got Brandon Marshall, Eric Decker, some good young wide receivers, well, some veteran wide receivers in that case. He played smart. He played efficient. I thought he did a good job. They're a team that can go to the playoffs and compete for a Super Bowl championship, but your quarterback's sitting at home right now.
But is he worth $15 million a year though? I mean, you went
maybe for 1 year, but I don't know how they're going to swing it.
He was on poor teams before, throwing the ball all over the lot on a good team that just needed him to score one time in the last 3 possessions of a season to try and beat their coach who they couldn't stand.
You know what?
To try and beat, and he turned it over 3 times.
He would be in a Jets uniform right now if that last game hadn't happened.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to figure out what you're saying. No, and this is part of the reason, David Carr, why you are doing so well and flourishing in your first few months as part of the paparazzi with the NFL media group, is you say what is on your mind. You just throw it out there. The next answer to this question, though, is very crucial, certainly here on this show. Do you think that Christian Hackenberg was worth the 51st overall pick in the draft this year?
No, he wasn't. I mean, he's a project guy. And Christian had some, and I don't get to see a lot of tape of those guys, but what I did see and just talking to some guys, he's got a lot of work to do. He missed throws in college. You don't miss throws in college and come in and be the 51st
You don't.
pick.
No, you don't.
You know, so he's got, I know.
You don't.
I feel like I'm
Chris Law.
Hey,
I'm adding him. To
I saw your sweatshirt. I apologize, man.
To the list.
He's put on the list. You're on the list. You're on the list.
Like I said, he could be a great player, but he's not going to get an opportunity.
Don't worry, I'm on the list.
Okay,
Who's
good.
on? Daniel Jeremiah's on the list.
Daniel Jeremiah's on the list. Adam Rank's on the list. Will Brinson.
Look, Christian, I'm not saying you can't be a great player, man. You're just not going to get an opportunity.
One of the knocks on him, though, was his accuracy and in the pocket. And it was because he got beat up so much the past 2 years.
Sure, and he had some different systems, too. He had a lot of different systems that he had to go through.
True. At what point, though, do you get scared? Not scared that you're going to get hurt, but when that starts playing with your mindset when you're dropping
that
back.
Yeah, it happened to me. It happened to everybody. Because what happens is you don't trust what's going on around you. You know, so Christian gets hit enough times. Now he thinks, well, maybe I won't be able to get to my third read. I got to find a way out of here. I got to escape, or I got to force this first one.
Sure.
Because I don't know if I'm going to be able to get back to my third guy. So it doesn't necessarily, you don't start to see ghosts and all that kind of nonsense, but you definitely speed up the clock in your head because you realize you only have you don't have Tom Brady time back when he was throwing to Randy Moss. You don't have 6 seconds in the pocket, which that guy would eat a sandwich back there sometimes.
Well, that said, I do believe you think that the Jets sped up the clock by going 51st overall.
They sped it up. I'm on the list. I said it.
All right,
okay.
I got one other one for you. When your brother was drafted, Texans had the first overall pick in the draft. Most people didn't think he was going to go 1, but they also had 33 and were in dire need of a quarterback. Did you guys talk with the organization or have any input on that? Because how tough of a situation would that have been for him?
Hold off on that. We're going to take a break.
Okay,
and when we come back, I want to ask you also who the face of the NFL is, okay?
All right, good deal.
That's David Carr right here on the Rich Eisen Show at DCarr8 right here on the program. Don't go anywhere. We'll also have Chad Michael Murray in studio here on the Rich Eisen Show. Download our new app. People, go to the Apple App Store or Google Play and download our app and be part of this show. Call us from it. That'll always be fun. 844-204-RICH to call us conventionally. There's a couple NFL players that are going to make the Olympics. And not in the NFL. There is no football in the Olympics. We're just talking about the sports that matter. See? Now, what would happen if I now go back to the NFL Network and say that sort of thing? Right?
But you wouldn't say that.
Exactly,
because the
which is why Rory shouldn't say that.
Absolutely not. The NFL actually matters.
At any rate, there are some NFL players that are going to be playing in some sports that matter to some people. In the Olympics, we'll discuss that still to come here on the Rich Eisen Show. Chad Michael Murray, big Bills fan, and he's in the movie Outlaws and Angels, will be here in hour number 3 in the seat that David Carr now currently occupies. You want to just quickly rephrase the question?
Yeah,
that you wanted to ask
when your brother was coming out in 2014, Texans had the top overall pick, and they also had the 33rd pick, which is in that range where they thought he would go. He ended up going 36. Did you guys talk to the Texans or talk about the difficulty of that situation if it were to happen?
Yeah, it was an interesting night. because we were hoping he'd go in the first round.
Sure.
I know me personally, I thought he would be gone way before that, but we're sitting there, at my house getting ready for, the next day's events, which we're hoping he's going to go, and everyone's saying, well, the Houston Texans are sitting there. What are they going to do? And honestly, I mean, true statement, we're sitting there in my office, and I said, man, that just wouldn't be the right spot. I hope they don't do it. And Derek said, I want to go. And he wanted to go play for him, because he has good memories. He had friends there. He grew up there. I mean, he went through junior high out there, some years in high school, and he would have loved to have gone back and been able to bring them a championship, because that was his mindset. I mean, I'm not comparing Derek to Kobe Bryant at all, but mindset-wise, Derek has that mindset. Like, it's not too big for him.
What's the challenge?
Yeah, it was a challenge for him, and I honestly was like, man, there's no way. It just because I had to go through it from a different perspective. But he was all for it, man. It was crazy. And I just said, hey, all right, we'll see what happens.
How many teams you play for in the league?
I played for the Texans, Panthers, 49ers, and the Giants.
In the Giants, so 4 teams. 844-204-RICH is the number to dial. There's a call for you here. Ryan in Southern California. You're here on the Rich Eisen Show with David Carr. Ryan?
Yeah, Dave, huge fan. I just had a quick question. Favorite center you ever played with?
Well, that's a very specific question.
Why would you? That's a very specific question.
Why would a guy call into a show ask you the favorite center you ever played with?
Well,
I'm just asking questions all the fans want to know. That's it.
I'll probably go with he played guard, but played for the Carolina Panthers. Jeff Handgartner, Piggy, was actually he was a really good center.
Now, Dave, true or false? Another center that you played with, Ryan Khalil, did he or did he not whoop up your brother on a one-on-one call-out in Bakersfield, California?
Okay. So, yes, he did. Technically, he did.
But wait, hold a minute. Before you answer that question, this is very specific. These questions keep on getting more and more specific.
Yeah, I feel like there was only like 5 people in my backyard when this happened.
It's a really small community. Word gets around quick, Rich.
Okay. Does this Ryan sound familiar to you?
Yeah, it does. I mean, he sounds very familiar. But, I mean, I'm starting to think there were only 5 people in the backyard when this happened. My brother Darren called out Ryan Khalil, ironically, who lives in
Southern California. Ryan, is this you?
No, you got me, Rich.
So what's this story about?
So Ryan, what was going on? Were we just hanging out in the backyard and he called you out? I can't remember exactly how the challenge was thrown down. Do you remember how it was thrown down?
The Carr brothers are very competitive brothers, and they're always challenging each other. It doesn't matter what it is. And your brother, who played defensive line, was running his mouth a little bit and talking about things he didn't know what he was talking about. And so he threw down the gauntlet. I felt like high school. I had a pair of cleats in the back of my car and a mouthpiece, I believe.
I don't know why you had cleats, mouthpiece, and I think even tape. Because
in the car?
He taped up, yeah. And he went and then so my brother went and got his cleats, and this went down on a piece of grass not much bigger than our set here, and it was intense, man. It was amazing. It was amazing.
So
Ryan,
it was intense for him.
May have gotten the better of him, but it was a good time.
I felt bad. He tried that really, really awful spin move.
Let me tell you, from his perspective, he beat you one time, just so you know, just for the record. When
you ran
the
20
dummy
yards
was
out
touched.
to the left side?
I know a lot of quarterbacks go down when the finger of the defensive lineman grazes the side of the face mask. I know that's a sack in a lot of books, but apparently in that backyard that day was a sack.
Well, thanks for calling, Ryan from Southern California. I guess Derek that day needed the rookie handbook, right, Ryan?
Well, I think so. That's a great point, Rich. Remember, the rookie handbook comes out September 6th. You can pre-order it right now online, Amazon.com.
If I knew who wrote that, I could actually get a free copy. But
Handgartner did too.
Piggy wrote one. Piggy wrote one.
Hey, is Handgartner still retired from the NFL, Ryan?
He's still retired.
When he came on, I did not know he was retired. I said he was still an active member of the Panthers, and apparently he had not been for an entire year.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. Well, at least you're up on the knowledge of the day.
So thanks for calling, Ryan.
For the NFL, so
hey,
thanks,
appreciate it. Huge fan,
Ryan.
Rich. Huge fan.
Thank you very much. Very good. Who is the face of the NFL?
Ryan Khalil. He should be. He's just a sinner. He's a sinner.
You are correct.
They don't give him any love. I mean, he gets on. The NFL Network puts him on, but he's in a bear costume. So I mean, Tom Brady doesn't go on TV with a bear costume. So you know what? I know that there's a lot of hate and some Michigan and some Penn State things going on right now, but. I mean, if Tiger Woods is the face of golf, then even though Tom Brady's serving a 4-game suspension, he's the face of the NFL.
I think he's the face of the NFL too.
Yeah, because it has to be a quarterback. Just because.
Well, Chris came up with a good one. Brockman came up with Cam. Cam's the face of the NFL
absolutely.
right now.
I mean, he could be. You know what? And I love Cam. I think he played tremendous. And Ryan obviously loves Cam. But I just wish he would have handled the Super Bowl thing differently. And I know, I get it, man. I've never lost a Super Bowl. I was fortunate enough to where Eli won me a Super Bowl, okay? So I get the whole thing where going through that whole process and then losing, I can't imagine. And all the guys that I hear that have lost a Super Bowl, I can't imagine losing that game. But I just wish he would have handled it differently, you know?
Well, the only reason why I wish you would have handled it differently is because, you know, I was one of those guys pounding the table for him all year long, saying if you did not like the way he was celebrating, then wipe the smile off his face.
Stop him.
Which is what he was saying all year long as well. And then somebody did it.
Yeah.
And instead of him saying, and good for you, it was something that was a little bit different. But then again, hearing Chris Harris right behind you basically say,
I get it. It's a bad
our job was to just basically make him throw.
No, and I'm talking to Ryan about it afterwards, and I kind of asked him about the whole scenario and setup, and we've probably talked about it a ton, especially on your show, but it's they were right next to each other. So I mean, it's not the greatest setup, you know. To have to listen to that, you just went through and gave pretty much everything. I don't know a guy that gives more on the field. I mean, we talk about him dancing a lot, and there's just, you want to stop it, but I mean, the guy, he gives it everything he has, and he doesn't like to lose. And that's a great quality these days, especially in professional football.
And he was the clear MVP of last year.
Oh, absolutely. No doubt in my mind.
No question.
No question.
What he did to Seattle, he ended the Cowboys season. What he did, perhaps his most impressive performance may have been coming back on the Giants. After
when
they
the Giants
had
thought they were
such a
going to beat
huge
him.
lead.
Yeah, the Giants thought we're going to beat this team.
And, and then they cut to him, and he just like nodded his head. I got it.
And it just
he was incredible.
The ability to throw the football down the field last year, second to none. I mean, his accuracy down the field, some of those throws to guys that haven't really been guys, you know, other than the tight end Greg. But I mean, Ted Ginn, he's dropping dimes on this guy. It was just amazing.
Thanks for coming on the show.
Oh man, anytime.
Appreciate it.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.